What's up, everybody? My name is Shannon, and I am still waiting for my Satyr, and today we are talking about the final book in the Starbound trilogy, Their Fractured Light by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Okay, so this is officially one of those series where I know that it's not the best, but I still really loved it. I'm sure most of you will remember when I reviewed the first book in this series. I did not have any expectations. I did not think anything of it. The cover looked stupid, the titles are weird, but when I read it, it completely blew me away. I was not expecting it to be what it was. And then when we got to the second book, I was kind of let down. A lot of what I liked about the first one wasn't present in the second one. I wasn't really sure where we were going, but all of that was fixed with the third book, because what's amazing about Their Fractured Light is that it shows you that throughout this entire trilogy, the author has been slowly broadening your perspective. And once this book is over, you step back and you see all these threads and how it all connected and how it all worked and how it all just came together. Because we start out so hyper focused in on Lilac and Tarver, and then we just move out and out and out until we get that final pair, and then everybody comes together, and it just worked really well. I really loved it. For this book in particular, I think that Sophia and Gideon are definitely my favorite pair out of the three, because I want to say that Tarver and Lilac are still my favorite, but I've never really liked Lilac. I just really like Tarver. But I think Sophia and Gideon just play so well together, because we were introduced to both of them in the second book, The Shattered World, with Sophia being the daughter of that man who blew himself up because of the Fury. So she's kind of off on this quest to track down LaRue and to kill him to take revenge for her father. And she is just this silver-tongued, like quick as a whip. Like, she is so witty and amazing, and I absolutely love those kind of characters. And then we have Gideon, who is the Knave of Hearts, who was briefly mentioned when we were talking to Tarver and Lilac, also in the second book, and he is the genius hacker. He's underground, he knows like all of the things and all that kind of stuff, and he's very like overconfident and kind of all that stuff, and they just work so well together. And I love that their love story was about, they only knew the lies and they were trying to find the truth, and they were trying to discover who they were and who each other were once you take all of that away. And I really liked that. I do think that they suffer a little bit, because in this book, not only are they telling our final, love story, but we're also coming together for big, like, final battle stuff, which I wasn't expecting. I knew that there was, like, the overarching story with the whispers and everything, but I really wasn't expecting there to be some big epic moment in the end, which there is, and I do think it worked well, but I do think that this pair in particular suffers because they don't get as much time. It is narrated from them almost exclusively, with a few exceptions in there. And what's interesting about that is that I listened to these on audiobook, and this one got the voice actors for at least Tarver and Lilac to come back. I couldn't tell if they had Flynn and Jubilee in there. I don't think they did. I think there was just 4 narrators in there, but that was really cool. I was so excited when I heard Tarver's voice. It just made me so happy. But I feel like they don't get as much time to develop, and that also might just be due to the fact that the timeline is kind of ambiguous. I found it hard to find, like, how long things were taking, where were we at in the timeline, and you partner that onto the fact that we have a lot of time jumps in between each book, so I'm not really sure how things were happening, but I still think it worked out, and I do like seeing our other couples through other perspectives. That's what we got in the second book. We saw Tarver and Lilac through the lens of somebody else, and then we see that again in this book, and I overall thought that it worked out really well. I love that this story's overall message stays really true to the whole sci-fi thing of discovering humanity, because that's what it was. These whispers wanted to know if the humans were worth knowing, if they were worth saving, or if they should just let it all burn because of what one man did. So it's all about discovering what humanity means, and they deal with fate and destiny and choices and love, and it was so amazing. I really liked all of those themes. I think this book in particular did a really good job with that. I think the first book did as well, but since it was so hyper-focused, I was kind of expecting that, and I wasn't expecting it from this book. I wasn't really expecting us to go deeper, especially when I noticed that like things were getting a lot bigger than they had been. I really didn't think that we were going to focus in on, you know, like what is humanity, and all of the little bits in between the chapters really help show you how everything fits together. It really makes you able to take that step back and finally see everything for how it is, because you see all of the things that we didn't know before. You finally get all of the pieces. You can finally see the forest through the trees, and it was an amazing feeling. Halfway through this book, so much was already happening, and it just completely blew me away. Yes, in these stories, the romance is a little bit cringy, but it is, in my opinion, forgivable. It's especially forgivable in the first book. I think it's still forgivable in this last book, Their Fractured Light, which I know I'm talking about these books as a whole, but Their Fractured Light does a very good job of wrapping everything up, connecting everything together. I almost wish that it was split into two books. Like we had the third book be about Sophia and Gideon, and then we had everybody come together, because we kind of lose a little bit of the gravity because we don't spend so much time with our other characters. So once all that like subplot with Lilac comes in, you kind of have to like go back and like think and like remember, and it's a little bit strange, but overall I like the way that it was done. I think it was very well written. I think the messages came across very well. I think the romance works. I do think that these books are not for everybody, but if you are like a contemporary fan and you want to dip into fantasy, this might be your bridge, and you know, vice versa. If you're more into fantasy and want to dip into contemporary, it does kind of have that nice balance, because Amie Kaufman does a very good job with the world building, with the sci-fi, and then you get that romance come in with Megan Spooner, and I think that they just worked very well together. I mean, I am somebody who is obsessed with the Selection series and knows that those books definitely have their faults, and these books do as well, but overall, like, it was just beautiful. I loved reading this series. I think I could listen to it again. The only blemish on it, in my opinion, is the second book, which is so unfortunate, because you need this shattered world for everything to make sense. Without the second book, it all completely falls apart, which sucks, because that book just doesn't, it is not on the level of these other two books, and I don't think that couple is either. I loved Jubilee, I loved Flynn, but I don't think their story works well. I don't think they play off with the other characters well enough, but overall, as a whole, I really love this story, and I do recommend it. Again, it's not going to be for everybody, but if you're willing to give it a shot, I think you totally should, because I absolutely loved it, and it blew me away. But anyway, I talked about that for longer than I was intending to. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you can talk books with me every Monday. That is everything got for you today, guys. I will see you next time. Bye!